Well, hello there. Since we're doing these videos showing barn project, I'm going to put a tutorial in each little mini series. This one's site prep. If anyone would like to learn how to do property development. 3 years ago, I knew squat about property development, and now I'm doing it. If you look on YouTube, there's a bajillion videos about how to flip your first house, and most of them are bullshit, but you know, they're there. There's not as much about how to do property development kind of from scratch. All right, so site preparation. Well, first you need to own a site. In our case, it's commercial land. If you want to do housing, it's still just a big block of land. If you've got an idea, like if you want to slap down multi-family housing, whatever you want to do, a lot of the beginning is the same process. So you need a piece of land. How do you find a piece of land? It's kind of the wild, wild west, I found. The commercial realtors are, you know, dicks. It's not very well regulated. The stuff's not posted on MLS. These guys, thus far, it's been all guys. You know, I can make fun of white males because I am one. They're a bunch of old white guys that are dicks. Yeah, probably edit that part out. So yeah, basically the best tools you're gonna have for finding commercial land are your car. Just drive around in the area you want and look for the big old sign with 4x8 whatever sheet with a here's some land, here's the acreage, here's the zoning, here's the number to call. Or LoopNet. They generally post them on LoopNet. Calling them, they seem very standoffish. Is that the right word? They don't want to be involved if you have a realtor already. They want to make double commission. Sometimes they won't let you see the place. They'll just ignore you. If they think they might have a buyer who's going to get them double commission. I don't even fully understand this, but it's very hard to get showings for whatever reason for commercial land. But let's say you do. You're a persistent SOB like myself. So you've got commercial land. It's a big block of, hopefully at worst, honeysuckle. If it's full on trees, that could be a lot of work, not insurmountable. But things you want to look for right off the bat are the slope, the drainage. Is this the lowest bit of land? Are all surrounding properties higher than this land you're looking at? Does it drop off 20 feet downhill right at the sidewalk? If it goes down, it might not be a deal breaker if the next guy's land is even lower than yours, like it needs to drain. Okay, so then another thing you want to do is check the dirt. A shovel works. You know, you're out in honeysuckle and nobody can even see you. Just dig a 3-foot hole and see if you hit clay a couple places. If you're a benevolent soul, you can fill it back in afterwards. If you've got all topsoil, like if it's dark black, best farmland ever topsoil and it just keeps going and going, that's not good. You can't build a foundation on that. Dirt's not free. You have to get it hauled there in giant dump trucks. If there's a creek on the land, that's a warning flag. Silt or whatever is built up, like you might have crap dirt there. Especially land that's been sitting on the market forever tends to have a creek, I found, and be really low because nobody wants it. They never drop the price. Walk the border. Look for those light green electrical boxes. It'll have a phone number on there. Find out what it is. Call that company and ask them. Okay, let's say you persevere because you're, once again, a persistent SOB like myself. You find the land you want. In your purchase contract, you need to have something in there in terms of the zoning because you want to do something with this land. Let's say you want to do a residential development. You want to slap down a couple multifamily rental units or something. You're going to need probably a PUD, planned unit development. The zoning department will have some plan for what they want to do with the land in different areas. If your idea fits in, isn't too obnoxious to the neighbors, no matter what you want to do, your neighbors won't want it. You need, in your purchase contract, something along the lines of, this is contingent upon adequate verbiage from such and such city that we will be able to do what we want. Nothing verbal works. Like if you want to do, in my case, it's a wedding venue. We looked at one in Springboro and we could not get a written statement from them saying that we'd be able to do what we wanted to do, and it eventually killed the deal. If it requires a complete rezoning, you got to have that in there in the purchase contract. Don't trust anything they say that is not in writing. Dealing with these city officials, they are bipolar. The bar will move all over the place. They sound like they want your project. Next time you talk to them, they realize, oh, they overspoke. I need to back off of this. We don't want your project anymore. So everything in writing, and preferably also same thing in purchase contract. Also, the title search could be potentially very complicated. You're dealing with undeveloped land here. It was probably part of a farm, hundreds of acres. It's been split God knows how many times. That's a very complicated title search. It could be several $1,000s. It could take a long time. So bear that in mind. And during the title search, you want to find, are there any easements on this land? Our land has a fiber optic easement running right down the middle of it. We accidentally took it out later in the water line install process. It wasn't our fault. If there's an easement running down the middle of this land where you're hoping to build something, you need to find out about that. Make sure it's in writing that they're going to find that sort of thing for you. So, being the persistent SOB that you are, you make it this far, you get a purchased land, what next? Okay, we can finally get to site preparation, which is what my playlist is about. You need to do site preparation. You need a survey. In order to get a survey, you need relatively flat land. Nobody's going to want to survey it, nor can they if it's just full-on honeysuckle overgrowing everything. You need to mow it. Won't that be fun? I hope you don't have allergies. You're probably going to need a skid steer, preferably one with tracks, preferably on a dry day. Get it for the weekend. That ought to be enough, less than 10 acres, and it's not too crazy thick with honeysuckle. It's going to be a little sketchy because you don't know what's on this land. You don't know where the rocks are. You don't know where the culverts are. I've had a skid steer stuck on top of a culvert. This is why I always get tracks now. I had one wheel on one side, one on the other, and I had to have a tow truck pull me off of it. It's covered in honeysuckle. You don't see that culvert coming. So this is just the joys of land clearing on your own. But you want to learn how to do everything here. Contractors will murder you on these prices. To get that land mowed, the lowest I was quoted was $2,000. So you're riding a skid steer there, buddy. So anyway, you're a persistent SOB like myself. So you get your land all mowed up nice and whatever. Next process is the surveyor. The average age of surveyors is, I think, like 95. They're old. One of the most aging professions, and there's not many of them because, you know, what happens when you get old? So they're really expensive. So we only want to have them there one time, and then we're going to do it ourselves the rest of the time. You need a professional the first time. What you're going to need from them is an ALTA, ALTA, full topography. You need to mark everything. Your engineer is going to need that later. All utilities, all easements, where's the electrical, where's the sewer. Make sure what coordinate system it's in. It needs to be in a world coordinate system. Don't just make up a coordinate system and call this point over here 0, 0 and da 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 da, because we're not going to have them come back if we can help it. We're going to rent the surveying gear and do it yourself. You need the guy at the rental place to be able to import the points in the coordinate system. You're going to need that surveyor to put multiple calibration points. Like at the corners of the property, there's probably these little stakes. They have a little divot in the top, so you get exactly set up on 2 points, and you've got the little tripod with the laser somewhere else, and that's what you do to calibrate the thing. You need to have known locations so you can calibrate your survey rig later. So he needs to have multiple points. If they're not already existing, just have him place them for you and make sure you remember where they are, and make sure they're on that CAD file with the coordinates marked. That's all you need to be able to calibrate later. So you won't have to have a surveyor come out here and charge you $5,000 every time you need to mark anything. Your parking lot, where your water line is going to go, where your catch basin is going to go. They're not there originally when he surveys it. Somebody needs to mark it so the excavator can put it there, and that's going to be you. Being the persistent SOB that you are, you have to do this, and it'll be so much cheaper this way. Make sure that's all in your CAD file that your surveyor outputs. They're lazy, so they don't want to come back. It's like it's impossible to book these guys in the first place. It'll probably take a month to get the guy there. They don't even want to do it. They'll probably be more than informative about even where to rent the stuff. It's going to hurt to get the survey. So anyhow, you've got your survey. Make sure they give you the CAD file. At that point, you can hire an engineer to do your site plan. Everything after this kind of requires the engineering drawing. This is a whole separate video though, and it's gonna get long because I'm gonna just go on rants about these people.